Are we live? We are live. Okay. Hi, everyone. How's it going? I hope you are well. Let's get into. Can you believe that it's already October 21st? I can't. I don't know what happened to the entire month of October, but here we are. Welcome to another pep talk of Novel 90 Fall 2025. My name is Bekah, and I am the coach of Team Plancer. Welcome, one and all. I do want to start us off with let's just take a breath because here we are at October 21st and we're still in planning month, but November is looming. The end of the year is actually looming, and it's just been one of those days. So let's take a breath together for a second. We're going to inhale for 4, count to 4, exhale. So all right, let's talk about mindset because I think this is one of those things that people do not give enough time to in understanding how this affects you as a writer and how it affects the work that you are attempting to do in this challenge. So I think of mindset actually as an engine that fuels the entire writing journey. When your mindset is off, your writing is often going to be off as well. So we're going to talk about that. I am going to mention a couple strategies that I use as a neurodivergent author as well. So if I have anyone on the call that is also neurodiverse or perhaps spends a lot of time, their process might not be linear, this will speak to you as well. So let's get into it. This might be alarming to some people, but the biggest barrier isn't time. It's actually mindset for a lot of us because let's be honest, most of us blame time for why we can't write. And honestly, it's legitimate. We're all very busy. Many of us have many, many demands on our times. But have you said to yourself or heard, I don't have enough hours. I can't write tonight. There's just not enough hours. I'm too tired after work. I'll start when things calm down. Been waiting for things to calm down for like 2 decades. They have not, in fact, calmed down. The truth is, we put these barriers in, whether they be barriers that we can't control or barriers that we can, because it is often a mask. Sometimes that's for fear, sometimes that's for insecurity, sometimes that's for the belief that we actually can't do it. And it's easier to say, I don't have time, than to sit down and actually do the thing. Because the real barrier often isn't our calendar, it's the voice that says, who am I to do this? I'm going to let you sit with that for a second. Has anyone felt that way where they are thinking, who am I to try to write this book? Who am I to attempt this challenge when I have so many other things going on? Writers, as a whole, we are experts at self-sabotage. We get stuck in what I like to call productive procrastination. We research endlessly. There's a reason I don't write historical because I would never ever stop researching and I would never write anything again. I would just be learning a lot of very fascinating facts about things. Personally, I know this about myself. We obsess over perfect outlines for our planners. This is something that we do. We spend a lot of time polishing things into oblivion because having tasks like that can make us feel safe. It can keep us from risking failure. But I want to reframe this whole idea of productive procrastination and mindset of if I do all of these things, I am preventing failure. So therefore, I should spend all of my time doing these things instead of actually writing. You're not just writing, though, when you sit down to write a book. You are actually working on things like mental resilience. You are choosing courage over comfort. You are strengthening the mindset muscles that will carry you through not just this project, but every creative pursuit that you attempt. And I find that realization can be very scary for some people. So today I want to work on a mindset shift with everyone. And I want you to think about this phrase: I am a writer who finishes things. So even if you're listening to this and you're like, Bekah, I write as often as you do, I'm finishing stuff all the time. Or if you're like, this is my first book and I have no idea how I'm going to finish it, I want you to write down on a sticky note, because you know me, I love my sticky notes. I want you to write down this phrase: I am a writer who finishes things. That is going to be one of your mindset guides for this challenge. When you win that battle, when you realize in your mind that you are going to finish this thing, the words tend to follow. So I want you to think about that as we move through this little pep talk and also through the rest of this challenge. All right, let's talk about the mountain. The mountain in this analogy is going to be your novel, because when you look at the finish line, whether you're shooting for 50,000 words or 80,000 words or, I don't know, 120,000 words, it feels like you're kind of staring at a fog-covered mountain. I was just in Colorado this last weekend, and beautiful Rocky Mountains. You can sometimes just stare up at them and you can't even see the top because there's clouds or what have you. And suddenly realizing that you have to start from where the beginning of this trail and get all the way up there to the top, that can be paralyzing in anxiety. And you're like, oh my gosh, I did not sign up to climb a mountain today. Thank you. No, thank you. Don't want it. And it feels overwhelming. That panic that you feel when you're staring up at this and going, I don't know how I'm going to do this, that tends to come from scarcity thinking. A lot of times it's the little voice in your head that says, I'm not good enough. If you've ever felt that voice, or I don't have time, or I'll fall behind, or I'll never finish this because I've never finished anything else. That is that mindset that's going to be holding you back. And if we're trying to master mindset, we need to flip that script. So instead of seeing the mountain, I want you to focus on the next step. We're following a path, we're following a trail. You don't have to conquer the whole mountain today. In fact, I would prefer that you not try to conquer it all today. Instead, you have to take one clear step. Every day is a new opportunity to take another step towards our final destination, towards the top of this mountain. Maybe that's writing one page. Maybe that is working on your outline. Maybe that's finalizing your characters. Maybe that's just writing a few lines of dialogue, whatever it is to you. Because every time you take a step, you are starting to shrink that fear that you can't do it. It builds trust in yourself, and trust creates momentum. And as you have heard me say a million times before, momentum is what gets books finished. So let's try. I know it's hard, but let's try to think about this as steps versus the whole thing. The next thing I want you to do is really embrace the beauty of Novel 90 as a writing challenge. It's not just about the finish line, and it's not just about getting X number of words in a blah blah specific time frame. Instead, it's about building momentum and getting you from idea to ready to publish. And I want you to think about that. If this is your first book, what would it mean to you to finally finish this book and see it on the shelf? What does that dream look like? If this is not your first book, but you're still working on a lot of things, what does it mean to you to, I don't know, finish your series, to write book 2, to write book 20? What does that mean to you? Because we're thinking about 90 days as a long time, but it's actually the perfect balance. It's long enough to develop real habits and it's short enough to feel urgent. So when you're writing today's pages or you're working on your outline or what have you, because we're still in planning month, if you're not writing, you don't have to be. I want you to think about what can you do today to achieve that goal. I don't want you to fixate on what the whole month's word count you have set for yourself is. I don't want you to fixate on the entire novel. I just want you to fixate on what you can do today to reach that goal. Because when the resistance hits, and it will, you can come back to that. Novel 90 isn't about pressure, it's about progress. It trains you to think smaller, commit deeper, and celebrate consistency. And I know that feels a little weird. You're like, what do you mean? I'm thinking smaller. I'm writing a whole book, but you're thinking about this in a very methodical way. To complete this challenge, you're completing your planning, your writing, and your editing. So you're breaking down these steps in a way that feels achievable so that you can build that momentum and actually finish the book, because that's what I want you to do. I want you to finish that book. I want to celebrate with you in January 2026 when you are done. It may not be perfect, and that's okay. It's going to be done, though, and you'll be able to fix it. So each day you write, you're telling your brain, see, I keep promises to myself. I am working towards my goal. And that's how confidence grows. It's not through inspirational pep talks, it's through you actually doing it. It's through evidence that you can actually um, complete this. So, oh, why won't it let me move? There we go. Where'd it go? Okay, so let's talk about resistance. Has anyone already felt resistance in planning month? My outline, even my hybrid Planter outline is in less than ideal shape right now. So I have resistance loves to whisper, you don't have time, you're too tired. That's a big one for me right now. It's a very busy time of life with my family and my kids, and I am constantly tired. You can do it tomorrow. Who has fallen on that one? Be like, I don't want to write tonight. I want to finish watching Love Island. So I'm going to do it tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and you're still tired. Tomorrow comes and it's Netflix or whatever Love Island is on, and you have another episode. It's tomorrow, and you now have to do yesterday's and today's. Is anyone feeling that yet? If you're not, I don't want to scare you, but these things do come up in any type of writing challenge. The weapon that I like to use, and I don't like that word weapon, but it fits, is the 1 minute rule. I use Pomodoros as well. So Pomodoros are a hyper focused productivity strategy where you give yourself a set amount of time and focus on one thing. You just do that thing for that amount of time, and then you take a break, and then you do it again. But I also have a 1 minute rule, because if I am not feeling it, and even as much as I write, there are days I'm not feeling it. If I can't write for an hour, if I can't write for half an hour, if I can't write for 1 23-minute Pomodoro, I bet I can write for 60 seconds. All of you on this call, anyone who's watching on the live stream, you can write for 60 seconds. Because 1 minute is breaking inertia. Once you begin, the brain's kind of friction resistance tends to dissipate a little bit. That first word is unlocking the second word. It leads you to a flow, but it has to start somewhere. And sometimes it starts with 1 minute. And I know, because I talked to some of you folks via text, I know some of you are like, 1 minute won't do anything for my draft. It might not. I will be honest, you need a lot of minutes to complete a draft. However, 1 minute can be the difference between you writing today and you not writing today. And I want you, if you're having a rough day and you're just like, I don't know, Bekah, the kids are screaming, it's fall, and I forgot, X number of things. And now if you're me, it's Spirit Week at both daycare and high school. So now I'm buying costumes for Spirit Week. Instead, I want you to write the absolute worst sentence you can think of in your book. It's hilarious. Make it bad. Make it awful. Those kinds of exercises, they work. They get you out of this negative feedback loop. I have written some truly terrible dialogue using this power of 1 minute. And some of it does make it into the blooper reel, which I use as an exit magnet for my newsletter, because every now and then I just go off on a silly rant with my characters, and it does get the words to start flowing again. You can set a timer on your phone. You can set a timer inside the writer's desk. You can use an egg timer, go steal it from one of the board games. Set a timer for 60 seconds and type anything. Just write, stream of consciousness. Open your document and write your character's name and what you know about them. Because when you do stuff like that, you've already won. You're showing up and you're writing, and that's what writers do. One of the biggest misconceptions I get from folks that are just coming into writing is that we're all serious about this all the time. I can only speak for myself, and the writers that I know, but we're not all a serious group of people that are like typing brilliance all of the time. No, we're being weird and trying to get through mindset stuff and writing silly things about our characters and making our characters fight and argue and building world stuff that's probably too detailed, but it gives us joy. So we're going to keep doing it. That is the journey of writing. It is fun, it's silly, it's messy, it's aggravating at times. But showing up for it, it is one of the best things I've ever done for myself and my career. So, this is going back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago, the commitment to yourself. There's a moment in every creative journey where you basically have to decide. And I'd have to decide for every book I write, I have to decide that this is the one. This is the book I'm writing right now. And sometimes I have more than one project going at one time, but this is what I've committed to completing. You can't finish what you haven't fully chosen. So let's commit not to perfection, but to persistence. Commit to your story, your process, and your potential. I truly believe that you have a story worth telling. And I want you to believe in that as well, because this challenge isn't just about writing the next great novel. It's about proving to yourself that you can follow through, that you can keep going even when it's messy, that your word to yourself matters, because finishing starts the moment you say, I'm in. And you can say it now. If you like to say things out loud, you can. I want you to try that and feel how that changes your energy. That commitment, that's the starting line that we're going to use as we continue through this challenge. Let's talk about our I want to talk specifically to my neurodiverse authors, and honestly, this applies to anyone whose process might deviate from whatever the standard, there is no standard, but standard is. Um, I want you to hear this truth, because sometimes as a neurodiverse creative, I wish someone had told me this earlier. Your process is not a problem. Okay, it's for too long, you might have been trying to fit a highly complex, unique operating system, otherwise known as your brain, into a simple, generic structure, and it doesn't fit. Trying to force a neurotypical schedule or process, like write for 2 hours straight every morning without stopping, is like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't work. It just causes immense stress, frustration, and eventual burnout. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anyone. So I want you to drop the guilt. Have you ever felt guilty that your process is too weird or not enough? I want you to drop the guilt immediately. The traditional writing advice that doesn't work for you is bad advice for you, period. Let it go. You don't need it. We need to respect the way your magnificent brain operates. That includes naming your challenges. If you deal with activation energy or task switching, or perhaps you are a hyper focused warrior and that makes you forget to eat, or it makes you dehydrated husk of a human because you suddenly tap into that hyperfixation and you've been writing for hours and you've just not taken care of yourself. Whatever it is, I want you to name it. I want you to then work on building a system that works with that specific aspect of your brain chemistry and not against it. Your writing life will change when you shift from self-blame to self-compassion. We all have different ways of doing things, and I really, really, really do not want you to force yourself into something that doesn't work for your brain. So let's embrace our superpowers. And this is for anyone who practices either of these things, whether through their brain chemistry or because they choose to. So hyperfocus. Who hyperfocuses on stuff? I hyperfocus on everything. It is never the things I need to, but usually I sometimes get those golden moments. Hyperfocus is your creative jetpack. It can be when you drop into that flow, oh my gosh, it's magic. Don't stop it. Ride the wave right while the fire is burning, and rest when you can't move, because resting refuels. For my nonlinear thinking folks, that means you connect dots that other writers might not connect. You might jump scenes or worlds, build out of order, and that's great. That's how innovation happens. Don't fight it, embrace it. Build tools, maps, color codes, voice notes that fit the way your brain loves to create. So, some strategic tools for focus, honestly, offload the logistics as much as you can. I like to externalize everything. So, stop trying to hold your entire story in your head because working memory is limited. Use tools, whether that be sticky notes or digital noteboards like we have in AutoCrit. You can use voice memos if you want to. You can use a messy planning document where you just start throwing things in there and then occasionally go in and like massively organize. Because if you free your brain to focus on creation, not storage, you can often get more traction. Body doubling. I swear by it. If you start to struggle, try working alongside someone virtually. Are quite a few people that use our recorded sprint that is available here on YouTube as a body double. It is in Pomodoro focus, but it is me staring at you while also working. This is a structure and gentle accountability, and it having another person on the screen that you are sharing time with while you're writing can trigger your brain to engage. If you go to our live sprints, this is another way to body double. You're not just writing, you're writing in community, and it's powerful and also judgment free. These are opportunities for you. Finally, I want you to visualize the finish line. Listen, a um, perfectionism loves to reappear, especially when we're visualizing things that are complete. You'll feel the urge to probably edit endlessly or to restart or to tell yourself that it's not good enough. And I don't want you to fall for that. A messy draft is in no way a failure. It's a representation of progress. Every finished draft, no matter how imperfect, is a foundation you can shape, refine, rebuild. You can work with it, but you can't work with a blank page. Um, so remember this: done is better than perfect. Progress over perfection. So I want to leave you with this. Another deep breath if you need one. You've got everything you need to be successful: the mindset, the tools, and the commitment. So it's time to move from thinking to doing. You don't need to wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There's only this moment, this challenge, and this story waiting for you to show up. The world does not need another perfect story. It needs your story, written with your heart, your courage, and your authenticity. So, when you take your first steps, whether that be joining this challenge for the first time, or going to one of your coaching calls, or working on your planning, I want you to take a step today. I want you to do something related to your book today, even if it's just one messy minute. I want you to do that because you have the power, you have the knowledge, you are not alone, and you have the persistence. And I believe in you. So that is the end of my pep talk. I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. Hopefully, did I come back? Because I just disappeared off of my screen. So hopefully I'm still here. Otherwise, I'm just the void talking to you. But this is really important, is understanding this mindset and doing this work. It is what gets me through all kinds of challenges while I am trying to keep up with my production schedule and to build my small but mighty little empire in writing. So hopefully this was helpful. I look forward to seeing y'all. If you're part of Team Plancer, we do have a call this week, and I am so excited for what you are going to create. So thanks, everyone.